This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV, Cloud Expo West in Santa Clara. I'm joined by Andi Mann. He's our DevOps chair, and so he's our expert and one of the world's leading experts in DevOps and knows everybody. But he also has a day job with Splunk. So, Andi, thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about what Splunk is up to and how that relates to your ongoing work in DevOps.
Absolutely. So to start with Splunk, well, we basically take machine data and we make it usable and valuable and accessible to everyone. So the way that plays in DevOps, and I'm doing a lot of work around this, is I believe that we need to take data-driven decisions to delivering applications around areas like increasing the speed and the velocity of delivery of new applications, so getting stuff into market faster, about making sure that the applications and the code we deliver is actually high quality and doesn't cause downtime events and improves customer satisfaction, and that we're actually delivering towards the goals that our business wants us to. And I really think it's important to get the data that proves all of those three things: the velocity, the quality, and that business impact.
If I step back a little bit, when did you first start talking about DevOps and why?
Well, I first started talking about DevOps probably in 2009, probably, because automation is something that's run through my life, my entire life. I started off automating mainframe processing. I've automated myself out of a job a few times, eventually ended up in a vendor landscape. I was an analyst for a while. Always looking for better and faster and easier ways to get stuff done and to get computers to do the dumb work so I could do the smart work. Well, what I'd like to think is the smart work. We'll see about that. And so automation is very much underpinning DevOps. But when you have automated systems, you can very easily do bad things quickly and on a repeated basis. So I started looking at DevOps from the automation angle, and I've ended up looking at DevOps increasingly at a cultural level, from a management level as well. You know, I work with a lot of CIOs and CTOs around how they can get engaged with DevOps, and so looking at measuring and the metrics that matter to senior executives as well as to practitioners and Scrum leaders, so that they can get visibility, because these automation tools are often really hard to see what's going on. You might be able to see in one tool at a time, but when you've got this whole tool chain approach, it's often really opaque. It's hard to see what's going on.
Okay. So this is for my friend Jim, who I want to make sure watches this. I have a guy who was sort of a mentor to me, not that much older, but he really brought me along. I had a good time. He does executive consulting and corporate consulting. So he has a client where the CEO is successful, a real command and control person. His IT people told him, we need to have a much more agile approach. So they instituted Scrum. They brought in like a Scrum master. And so now the developers are ecstatically happy. The operations folks are starting to get with the program, and the CEO is miserable because he thinks he's lost control. So what do you tell that CEO, and what do you tell my friend Jim, who's going to talk to that CEO?
That's a really important topic, because a lot of CEOs, a lot of executives especially, they think that they are losing control with DevOps. Now, the cool thing about DevOps is they're actually getting what they want, right? Because they're getting new capabilities in front of customers faster, they're being competitive in the marketplace, they're able to do new things in new ways and do iterative development and innovate really strongly, and that's what a lot of CIOs, CEOs want. But they're ceding a lot of control, if you will, to individual developers, if not Scrum masters, and that's a challenge. So what I would say is, understand that there are options to get accountability back into the system. And this is something I've been talking and thinking about for a little while now, the idea that accountability is the flip side to empowerment. If I'm empowered and enabled to make the decisions about what goes into this next release, when we release it, what is good versus, where's the quality aspect, am I having a business impact, I've also got to be accountable for the decisions I'm being empowered to make. And so this is again where data comes in, measuring things like the business impact of a release. Did I increase revenue? Did I increase click-through rates? Did I increase a cart fulfillment? Or did I unfortunately increase cart abandonment or click away or something like that? And having accountability for what you did, but also having accountability to each other. So I created a new release which caused a lot of downtime, availability, customer dissatisfaction. I created a configuration that didn't work for this application. Being able to honestly stand up with your teammates and share that and be accountable for it, I think is a really important part of the empathy and cultural change of DevOps. But it also enables executives to get visibility into what's really happening.
And right now, apparently the CEO, he sits in his office and worries. He's got to get elbows deep in it and not be intimidated by it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the doer economy, you know, especially in DevOps. It's about getting stuff done. It's about knowing the entire system, working together to deliver what your customers and what your business needs. And you've got to get involved even as the CEO. You have to be able to get involved with those teams, to be able to guide them, be able to see what they're doing, understanding that they have accountability to you, but also to be able to make sure that what they're doing is the right thing. Because ultimately the CEO's on the hook, and if you're devolving those decisions, then you've got to get involved with those decisions at least to know what's happening.
That was one thing I said. Ultimately, I said to my friend, tell your client, you know, he's still the boss. But his developers are so liberated, they're like drunk with power is what they look like, but they're just drunk with happiness and they can innovate. And I don't think any of them really wants to be the CEO.
No, exactly right. I mean, especially technical professionals, they're technical professionals for a reason, because they like technology, they like doing things and making new stuff. And there's nothing quite so satisfying as a program, which I've been in the past, or even as an operator, which I've also been in the past, of seeing a release go out that's going to have a real impact on your business. And a CEO can't make those code. Well, I guess some CEOs can. Most of them won't be able to write the code and build the systems and run them. But by the same token, the developers and operators can't run the company. They don't want to know that much about the books and the operations and all this sort of stuff. So,
I mean, once a company gets a certain size, the CEO shouldn't be writing the code.
Well, absolutely. Even if they can, they probably shouldn't.
No. So the other big question I have is sort of this intersection, this relationship between DevOps and cloud. And I look back a few years, and the whole idea was, you know, with public cloud, with instances, you can do some fun stuff on a laptop, and you know, off you go, and then you can push it. And it was the old thing of, you know, throw it over the wall to ops and all that. We're a little more mature now. You know, when we're actually doing about serious implementation on cloud, how strong is that relationship between DevOps and cloud computing? Is it absolutely essential that you're incorporating cloud computing? Is it absolutely essential technically, or is it more of a cultural thing? I can't really just figure it out.
Yeah, you know, it's not absolutely essential. I think cloud offers a lot to DevOps and to DevOps professionals because it gives you a sense of agility, of speed. There is a certain amount of stuff you just don't need to worry about that is routine. It's that whole idea of automation doing the dumb things so you can do the smart things. And cloud is a lot about that. Operations people can focus on reliability and capability and scalability, a whole bunch of other things, rather than having to focus on builds and infrastructure and putting together, racking and stacking. But it's not essential for DevOps, because if DevOps is anything, it's about the people. And the technology can be important, the processes and the activities that you take can be important, but ultimately DevOps is about how people work together. And this is definitely, this is something that Splunk is very focused on, is providing these collaborative environments where everyone is seeing the same information, they're able to work together, speak a common language, communicate with each other, integrate across teams. And so you're not having one team saying, well, it's a network problem, and another team saying it's a database problem. Everyone can see the same thing at the same time using the same data. And that's a way of sharing and collaborating even better. So technology can help. I think Splunk as a technology can help, but ultimately, DevOps has got to be about people and how they relate with each other.
You're Andi Mann on Twitter, right? You come up automatically for me because I can't remember. Your Twitter handle is?
Yep, Andi Mann, ANDIMANN.
That's what I thought. And Splunk is just splunk.com.
You got it.
So this to my friend Jim and the many other thousands of people who I hope watch this. This is Andy. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckhoff.